Donald J. Trump was born on June 14, 1946, at the Jamaica Hospital in Queens, New York. One of 5 children, he is the son of Frederick Christ Trump, a real estate developer. Mother is Mary Ann McLeod. Trump grew up in Jamaica, Queens, and attended the Kew Forest School from kindergarten through 7th grade. At age 13, he was enrolled in the New York Military Academy, a private boarding school, after his parents discovered that he had made frequent trips to Manhattan without their permission. Donald was an energetic, assertive child. His parents sent him to the academy at age 13, hoping the discipline of the school would channel his energy into a positive manner. Trump did well at the academy, both socially and academically, rising to become a star athlete and a student leader by the time he graduated in 1964. In 1964, Trump enrolled at Fordham University. After only 2 years, he transferred to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. While at Wharton, he worked at a family business, Elizabeth Trump and Son. He graduated in May 1968 with a Bachelor of Science degree in economics. While in college from 1964 to 1968, Trump obtained 4 student deferments from serving in the military. In 1966, he was deemed fit for service based upon medical examination in July 1968. After graduating from college, was briefly classified as eligible to serve by local draft board. In October 1968, he was given a medical deferment, which he later attributed to spurs in both heels. It was classified as 1Y, unqualified for duty except in the case of a national emergency. In December of 1969 draft lottery, Trump's birthday on June 14th received a high number, which would have given him a low probability to be called to the military service. In 1972, he was reclassified as 4F, disqualifying him for any service. Trump began his real estate career at his father's company, Elizabeth Trump and Son, which he later renamed the Trump Organization. He rose to public prominence after concluding a number of successful real estate deals in Manhattan and New York City. And his company now owns and develops lodging and golf courses around the world. Trump partly or completely owned several beauty pageants between 1996 and 2015. He has marketed his name to many building projects and commercial products. Trump's unsuccessful business ventures have included several casino and hotel bankruptcies, the folding of his New Jersey Generals football team, and the now defunct Trump University. While in college, Trump began his real estate career at his father's company, which focused on middle-class rental housing in the New York City boroughs of Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. One of Trump's first projects was the revitalization of the foreclosed Swifton Village apartment complex in Cincinnati, Ohio, which his father, Fred Trump, had purchased for $5.7 million in 1962. Trump has said when he graduated from college in 1968, he was worth about $200,000. In 1972, the Trump Organization sold Swifton Village for $6.75 million. At age 23, he made an unsuccessful commercial foray into show business, investing $70,000 to become a co-producer of the 1970 Broadway comedy Paris Is Out. By 1973, Trump, as president of the Trump Organization, oversaw 14,000 apartments across Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. In 1978, the city selected his site on the west side of Manhattan as the location for its Jacob Javits Convention Center. After finding that he was the only bidder who had a site ready for the project, he received a broker's fee on the property sale. The Trump Ocean Club International Hotel and Tower in Panama City. He was made the president of the company in 1971, and in one of his first acts renamed the company the Trump Organization. In that year, he also moved to Manhattan, where he took part in larger construction projects and used attractive architectural design to win public recognition. In 1973, the Justice Department alleged that the Trumps discriminated against prospective black tenants, rather than just screening out low-income applicants, as they said. The Department of Justice said that the black testers were sent to more than half a dozen buildings and were denied apartments. But a similar white tester would then be offered an apartment in the same building. Ultimately, the Trumps company and federal officials signed an agreement under which the Trumps made no admission of wrongdoing, and under which qualified minority applicants would be presented by the Urban League.
New York City, it's the benchmark for success. Believe me, I know. My name is Donald Trump, and I'm the largest developer in New York. I even have a television show. I thrive on energy. This isn't a game. I'm not playing games. Who will succeed? Who will fail? And who will be the apprentice? Nice looking group. Wow. Welcome to New York. It's the meanest city in the world. So welcome. By Rona, I'm at Toys R Us. I have to go. Bye. Good morning. Before we get started, okay, let's get started. The toy industry, it's a big industry. $20 billion. Each team will develop a brand new toy from Mattel, the largest toy manufacturer in the world. Okay. I have a bad haircut, too. Wouldn't you think that men would have the advantage in coming up with a toy?
I didn't have toys when I was a kid.
Why didn't you have toys? Your parents didn't buy you toys? Who would you choose as being not up to par?
I would have to say Rob.
But is that his fault?
I don't think it's his fault.
Okay. It's that time. Rob, you're fired. I plan to open the finest ice cream parlor anywhere. Trump's Ice Cream Parlor. $20 billion a year industry. And I want a piece of it and sell it. The team that makes the most money wins. So, Apex, you lost. See, now Bradford can be a little bit tough tonight because you know what? Because he's exempt, right, Bradford?
I'll be honest with you, I'd be willing to waive my exemption.
Bradford, I think it's stupid what you said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept it.
That's fine, Mr.
And you
Trump.
may get fired tonight.
That's fine.
Okay, good. See, this is what happens in life, Brad. And I've done it too. I've done really stupid things. But you did a really stupid thing.
I didn't think it was stupid at the time.
No, it's pretty stupid.
The Apprentice was an American reality television program that judges the business skills of a group of contestants. It has run in various formats across 15 seasons since January 2004 on NBC. The Apprentice was created by British-born American television producer Mike Burnett. Billed as the ultimate job interview, the show features 14 to 18 business people who compete over the course of a season, with usually one contestant eliminated per episode. Contestants are split into two teams, with one member from each volunteering as a project manager on each new task. During Trump's tenure, the series frequently featured and promoted his properties, products, and brand. Trump's wife, Melania Trump, was also featured on the series several times, including in several tasks that have featured her fashion and cosmetic products. Ivanka Trump's fashion products have also been featured in the tasks. Real estate tycoon and now U.S. President Donald Trump was the show's host for the first 14 seasons. After he declared his candidacy for the presidency, NBC announced that the actor and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger would become the new host of The Celebrity Apprentice starting January 2017.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President-elect of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
come both this side. Come both sides.
This is a historic night. The American people have spoken, and the American people have elected their new champion. America has elected a new president, and it's almost hard for me to express the honor that I and my family feel that we will have the privilege to serve as your Vice President of the United States of America. I come to this moment deeply humbled, grateful to God for His amazing grace. Grateful to my family, my wonderful wife Karen, our son Michael and his fiancée Sarah, our daughter Audrey, far away, and our
Trump began his political career by seeking the nomination for the Reform Party for the 2000 presidential race and withdrew. He again publicly announced that he would be running for president in the 2012 election. However, it wasn't until the 2016 election that Trump became the official Republican nominee for president, and defying polls and media projections, he won the majority of electoral college votes in a stunning victory on November 8th. 2016, despite losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton by almost 2.9 million votes. Trump's electoral win, 306 votes to Clinton's 232 votes, clinched his election as the 45th president of the United States. After one of the most contentious presidential races in U.S. history, Trump's rise to the office of president was considered resounding rejection of the establishment politics by blue-collar and working-class Americans. In his victory speech, Trump said, "I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans." About his supporters, he said, "As I've said from the beginning, our war is not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement made up of millions of hard-working men and women who love their country and want a better, brighter future for themselves and for their families." On July 21st, 2016, Trump accepted the presidential nomination at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. In a speech lasting 1 hour and 15 minutes, one of the longest in recent history, Trump outlined the issues he would tackle as president, including violence in America, the economy, immigration, trade, terrorism, and the appointment of Supreme Court justices. He said, "We are going to build a great border wall to stop illegal immigration, to stop the gangs and the violence, and to stop the drugs from pouring into our communities." He also promised supporters that he would renegotiate trade deals, reduce taxes and government regulations, repeal the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, defend Second Amendment gun rights, and rebuild our depleted military, asking the countries the U.S. is protecting to pay their fair share. On October 7, 2016, just 2 days before the second presidential debate between Trump and Clinton, the Republican presidential nominee was embroiled in another scandal when the Washington Post released a 2005 recording in which he lewdly described kissing and groping women and trying to have sex with then-married television personality Nancy O'Dell. The 3-minute recording captured Trump speaking to Billy Bush, co-anchor of the Access Hollywood, as they prepared to meet a soap opera actress, Ariana Zucker, for the segment of the show. In March 2018, the Trump administration formally acknowledged the charges by issuing sanctions on 19 Russians for interference in the 2016 presidential election and alleged cyber attacks. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin delivered the announcement, with the president remaining silent on the matter in July, days before President Trump was to meet with Putin in Finland. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced additional charges against 12 Russian intelligence officers accused of hacking the DNC and the Clinton campaign. Opposition to Trump grew during his campaign among the both Republicans, who viewed Trump as irrevocably damaging to the party and its chances of winning elections during and after 2016, leading to the coalescence of the Stop Trump movement and Democrats who decried Trump's anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim policies, his behavior toward critics, his treatment of the media, and the ethno-nationalist alt-right's support of his campaign because of said policies and his anti-political correctness stance, which many cited to be a factor in the rise of hate crimes and other hate-motivated incidents against ethnic and religious minorities prior to and following Trump's win. Although some conservatives, liberals, and independents criticized Republican Congress members for prioritizing party loyalty and avoiding alienation of Trump supporters to ensure re-election over condemning several of Trump's actions.
Chief Justice Roberts, President Carter, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, fellow Americans, and people of the world, thank you. We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. And we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your.
Trump was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States on January 20th, 2017. During his first week in office, he signed 6 executive orders, interim procedures with anticipation of repealing the Patient Protection and Obamacare, withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations, reinstatement of the Mexico City policy, unlocking the Keystone XL and the Dakota Access Pipeline construction projects, reinforcing border security and beginning the planning and design process to construct a wall along the U.S. border with Mexico. On January 31st, Trump nominated U.S. Appeals Court Judge Neil Gorsuch to fill the seat on the Supreme Court previously held by Justice Scalia until his death in 2016. In March 2018, Trump signed an order imposing import tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum. with exemptions for Canada, Mexico, and possibly other countries. In response, the EU imposed retaliatory tariffs targeting $3.4 billion in U.S. exports. In July, the United States and China imposed tariffs on $34 billion of each other's goods, expanded to $50 billion in August. In September, the U.S. introduced 10% tariff on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, poised to increase to 25% by the end of the year, and threatened further tariffs on additional $267 billion if China retaliates. China countered the move with 10% tariff on $60 billion of U.S. imports, which combined with the previous round of tariffs covers almost all $110 billion of the U.S. imports to China. In 1999, Trump told Larry King, "I believe in universal health care." Trump's 2000 book, The America We Deserve, argued strongly for a single-payer healthcare system based on the Canadian model, and he has voiced admiration for the Scottish National Health Service. During his campaign, Trump repeatedly vowed to repeal and replace Obamacare. Shortly after taking office, he urged Congress to repeal and replace it. In May of that year, the House of Representatives voted to repeal it. Over the course of several months' effort, however, the Senate was unable to pass any version of a repeal bill. Trump has expressed a desire to let Obamacare fail, and the Trump administration has cut off the ACA enrollment rate in half and drastically reduced funding for advertising and other ways to encourage enrollment. The tax reform Trump signed into law at the end of his first year in office effectively repealed the individual health insurance mandate. That was a major element of the Obamacare health insurance system. This repeal is scheduled to be implemented in 2019. Trump favored changing the 2016 Republican platform to affirm women's right to abortion in the 3 exceptional cases of rape, incest, and circumstances endangering the health of the mother. He has said that he is committed to appointing pro-life justices. He personally supports traditional marriage, but considers the nationwide legality of same-sex marriage is a settled issue. Trump supports a broad interpretation of the Second Amendment and says he is opposed to gun control in general. Although his views have shifted over time, Trump opposes legalizing recreational marijuana but supports legalizing medical marijuana. He favors capital punishments as well as the use of waterboarding and a hell of a lot worse methods. Trump conferring with Vice President Mike Pence and Secretary of Homeland Security John F. Kelly. January 25, 2017, Trump proposed and immigration policies were a topic of bitter and contentious debate during the campaign. He promised to build more substantial wall on the Mexico-United States border to keep out illegal immigrants and vowed that Mexico would pay for it. He pledged to massively deport immigrants residing in the United States and criticized birthright citizenship for creating anchor babies. He said that deportation would focus on criminals, visa overstays, and security threats. Trump made a controversial proposal to ban Muslim foreigners from entering the United States until stronger vetting systems could be implemented. He later reframed the proposal ban to apply to countries with a proven history of terrorism. On January 27, 2017, Trump signed Executive Order 13769, which suspended admission of refugees for 120 days and denied entry to citizens of Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen for 90 days. Citing security concerns, the order was imposed without warning and took effect immediately. Confusion and protests caused chaos at airports. The administration then clarified that visitors with a green card were exempt from the ban. On January 30th, Sally Yates, the acting Attorney General, directed Justice Department lawyers not to defend the executive order, which she deemed unenforceable and unconstitutional. Trump immediately dismissed her. Multiple legal challenges were filed against the order, and on February 5th, a federal judge in Seattle blocked its implementation. On March 6th, Trump issued a revised order which excluded Iraq, gave specific exemptions and permanent residence, and removed priorities for Christian minorities. Again, federal judges in 3 states blocked its implementation. On June 26, 2017, the Supreme Court ruled that the ban could be enforced on visitors who lack a credible claim of bona fide relationship with a person or entry in the United States. The temporary order was replaced by Presidential Proclamation 9645 on September 24, 2017, which permanently restricts travel from the originally targeted countries except Iraq and Sudan. The further bans traveled from North Korea and Chad and certain Venezuelan officials. After lower courts partially blocked the new restrictions with injunctions, the Supreme Court allowed the September versions to go into full effect on December 4th.